I'm Harold. I'm 79 years old, and I need to tell you something that might save your life, or at least save you from years of pain, frustration, and regret. Because what I'm about to share isn't dramatic, it isn't a story of an accident or a sudden illness, it's ordinary. But that's exactly why it matters. I spent most of my life thinking I was healthy. I ran errands, mowed my lawn, went to the grocery store without thinking twice, and even played a little golf with my buddies on the weekends. I never smoked. I barely drank. I went for walks now and then. On paper, I should have been fine. But there was one habit, just one, that slowly, quietly destroyed my health. And it's a habit that millions of people in the United States do every single day without thinking about it. I didn't notice it at first. It was subtle, something I convinced myself was harmless, something everyone else seemed to do without consequences. I'm talking about sitting all day. I've spent most of my adult life behind a desk, first in the office, then in my home study after I retired from work, scrolling the news, reading emails, catching up on shows. Even after retirement, I thought, I'm not hurting anyone. I'll walk tomorrow. But tomorrow often never came. Over the years, I started to feel stiff in the mornings. My back ached. My knees creaked. My energy wasn't what it used to be. At first, I blamed age. I'm almost 80, I told myself. This is normal. But it wasn't normal. It was my body screaming at me. I remember a moment that made it painfully clear. I was at my granddaughter Emily's soccer game. She was 7 at the time. I wanted to cheer for her, run along the sidelines, maybe even kick the ball back with her friends. But I couldn't. I was winded after walking a single lap. My joints hurt. My legs shook when I tried to sprint. I felt humiliated. I felt like I had failed myself. I went home that day and sat in my favorite chair. I stared out the window at the trees in the backyard and thought, how did I let this happen? I'd always been careful about what I ate. I took vitamins, I even got annual checkups, but none of that mattered. Because while I was trying to be smart about my health in some ways, I completely ignored the one thing my body needed most: movement. Real, consistent movement. I started to research. I read articles, watched videos, and slowly, the picture became terrifyingly clear. Sitting for hours every day doesn't just make you stiff or sore. It contributes to heart disease, diabetes, obesity, high blood pressure, and even early death. And the scariest part? Most people don't feel anything until it's too late. You don't get immediate pain. You don't see the damage, but it's happening. I realized I needed to change, or I would pay a very high price. But change wasn't easy. I'd spent decades in this routine. My house was designed for sitting. My recliner, my desk, my TV chair, even my favorite porch chair. I had to break habits that had been built over a lifetime. And the first few weeks were brutal. I started small, really small. I set a timer on my phone for every hour and promised myself I'd get up and walk around the house, even if it was just for 10 minutes at a time. 10 minutes didn't sound like much, honestly. It barely sounded worth it, but at first I could hardly make it through the first 5 minutes without my back and hips complaining. My legs felt like lead. My knees made noises I didn't even know they could make. I'd stop halfway through, leaning on the counter or the living room sofa, and think, maybe this isn't going to work. Maybe it's too late for me. I felt frustrated, discouraged, and honestly a little defeated. For decades, I'd ignored my body, and now it was making me pay for it in aches and stiffness that I couldn't just brush off. I wanted to give up. Some days I almost did. But then I remembered Emily's face at that soccer game, her little hands waving, her grin as she ran down the field, so full of energy and joy. I realized that if I didn't do this, I might never be able to chase after her, pick her up, or even walk alongside her without getting winded. That thought pushed me forward. I invested in a few small tools to help me: a sturdy walking stick for balance when my legs felt shaky, a compact indoor stepper I could use while watching the morning news, some resistance bands for gentle stretching, I started doing simple routines every morning, nothing extreme, no jumping jacks, no running marathons, just basic stretches, arm lifts, and leg movements to get my blood flowing. I'd stand near the kitchen counter, bending slowly, reaching toward the ceiling, and feeling muscles I hadn't noticed in years awaken. The difference wasn't immediate. My joints still ached. Some mornings I woke up stiff, groaning as I tried to swing my legs out of bed. But over the next few months I noticed small victories. I could stand up from my chair without gritting my teeth. I could bend down to tie my shoes without wincing. I walked to the mailbox and back without needing to sit halfway through. And then one morning I realized something remarkable. I had energy. Real energy. Not the kind that comes from caffeine or sugar, but that deep, steady energy that lets you wake up wanting to move, to live, to do something instead of just going through the motions. I wish I could tell you that I became some kind of fitness fanatic. I didn't. I don't run 5 miles or lift weights every day. I simply moved, consistently, every single day, and that made all the difference. The habit I'm talking about, the one that ruined my health, isn't glamorous. It isn't sexy. It doesn't sell on social media, but it's deadly. Sitting, doing nothing, waiting for tomorrow. I wasted years thinking I was fine, thinking I was safe, thinking I could catch up on exercise later, and that's the problem. Later often never comes. I've talked to friends in the United States who are in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, who are suffering from the same thing. It's a national issue. Our culture is built around sitting, offices, cars, couches, streaming services. And while we may feel productive, entertained, or relaxed, our bodies are quietly breaking down. I've also realized something else. The mental impact of sitting all day is enormous. For years, I felt sluggish and unmotivated. I assumed it was just old age catching up. But moving more, even gently, lifts your mood. It clears your head. It reminds you that your body is alive. I feel sharper now than I did at 70. More alert, more connected to life. I won't lie. Some days are still hard. Some days I forget to stand up. Some days I sit for hours without thinking. But I catch myself now. I've learned to listen to my body, to respect it, to honor it. And that's something I wish I had learned decades ago. If you're watching this, I want you to hear me clearly. You don't have to be young to change. You don't have to be in perfect shape. You don't have to run a marathon or buy expensive gym equipment. You just need to move, stand, walk, stretch, lift something light, get your blood flowing. Even 10 minutes at a time adds up, and it's never too late to start. I started seeing a doctor regularly after I began moving. My blood pressure improved, my cholesterol stabilized, my sleep became deeper, and my mood completely different. I feel like a new man. At 79, I can play with my granddaughter, take walks in the park, and even help with chores around the house without feeling completely wiped out. That life, being fully present, is worth everything. Here's the hard truth. Sitting may seem harmless, but it quietly robs you of your life, your energy, your joy, and your independence. It's not dramatic, and that's why most people ignore it. They think I'll start tomorrow, next week, next month. And then 10 years go by, 20 years go by. And suddenly you're like me, nearly 80, and realizing you wasted precious decades. I'm sharing my story not to scare you. I'm sharing it because I want you to do better than I did. I want you to feel strong and alive while you still can, because you can. Movement is free. Time is the only thing you need to invest, and that investment pays back in ways nothing else can. I don't know how long I'll live. None of us do, but I do know this. I'm not going to spend my remaining years sitting when I can stand, when I can walk, when I can be fully alive, and neither should you. It's simple, but it's powerful. Move your body. Respect it. Don't wait for a crisis. Don't wait until your knees ache, your heart is weak, or your doctor gives you a terrifying diagnosis. Start now. Small steps, repeated every day, build a life that's bigger than your chair, your couch, or your desk. If my story means anything to you, I want to encourage you to subscribe to this channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next story. We share experiences like mine, Ordinary people in the United States facing ordinary struggles that are quietly affecting our lives, and we share them to help each other, to learn from each other, and to motivate each other to take action before it's too late. And if you've got your own story, something you've realized too late, or something you're trying to fix right now, leave a comment. Tell me what resonated. Tell me how you're moving your body today. We need these conversations. Ordinary people, sharing ordinary truths, building extraordinary lives. Remember, I'm Harold, 79, and I wasted decades sitting. Don't make the same mistake I did. Move now, move every day. Stand up for yourself, literally. Your body, your health, your life, it depends on it.